Ready? Start. I have great pleasure in welcoming you to this seminar to discuss the contribution of Gandhian outlook and techniques to the solution of tensions between the within nations. I am particularly happy that so many distinguished men and women from so many countries have responded to our invitation. The subject for their deliberations is one which is of overriding importance in the modern world and immediately concerns all individuals of all nations. When the Indian National Commission for Cooperation with the UNESCO met for the first time in 1949, it resolved that steps should be taken at an early date to consider the Gandhian doctrines and their relevance to the problem of achieving world peace. UNESCO, which is concerned with the creation of an international outlook and the promotion of friendly feelings between different nations, was naturally greatly interested in the proposal. Since then, we have been considering how best to give effect to our plans of examining Gandhian methods as a means of achieving peace. You will agree that it was hardly necessary to have a seminar only in order to draw attention of Gandhiji's thought. His ideas have been before the world for many years and are already a part of the intellectual heritage of modern man. In view, however, of the crisis which threatens the world today and the danger of war which is always in the background of our minds, it seems specially appropriate to consider Gandhiji's methods so far as they provide an alternative to war and promise a solution to international problems. That is why, after much hesitation and thought, we have decided to call this seminar to give distinguished thinkers of the East and the West an opportunity to discuss Gandhiji's methods in all their implications. I am keenly conscious of the stupendous nature of the problem and also of how a solution has until now baffled the efforts of man. It is therefore in a spirit of humility that we have organized this seminar in the hope that the cooperative efforts of thinkers from so many countries may throw some light on our pressing problems and suggest some method of dealing more satisfactorily with the problems of war and peace. The issue at stake are so vast and our aim so important that whether we fully succeed or not, the effort is its own justification. This we have to understand now. The progress of science itself makes it the more urgent to find a solution to these problems. In the past, wars were often due to the fact that man's lack of knowledge did not permit him to utilize to the full of resources of nature. One nation or group could therefore satisfy its needs only by depriving others. If food or fodder was scarce, the only means of overcoming this shortage lay in forcible occupation of the fields or pastures belonging to others. Today, the progress of science has created conditions where all legitimate demands of man can be satisfied. We can now live in an economy of plenty rather than one of want. Secrets of nature have been revealed one after the other, and those have made available to man the immense wealth of her hidden resources. The tragedy of the situation, however, is that this increase of knowledge and mastery over nature is being used not so much for the constructive purposes of society as to enhance man's powers of destruction. The energy of the atom has been unlocked, and this can bring within the reach of all comfort and plenty. We are, however, concentrating on the use of atomic energy mainly to create terrible engines of destruction. Wireless has brought all mankind nearer to one another, but instead of using it to strengthen the bonds of fellowship among men, we are using it as an aid to a propaganda of hatred and discord. Aeroplanes are being used primarily to develop our offensive in aerial warfare. Greater knowledge of germs and bacteria promises mastery over disease and suffering, but such knowledge is often being sought to develop their use as weapons in bacteriological war. Not that these discoveries have no beneficent use, but such use seems subsidiary to the main purpose of employing them as weapons for the destruction of humanity. Since the beginning of this century, technological and scientific developments have tended to make war and peace coextensive with the whole world. In the past, some problems may have been solved by war. In any case, such wars were confined to a section of the world. Today, it is clear that no problem can be solved by war. If an attempt is made to solve any problem by means of war, the consequences extend beyond the frontiers of the nations concerned and involve all mankind. Wars have reached a stage where they only succeed in intensifying the hatred between nations and leading to new hatreds. Thus, the only consequence of war today is to enhance the impulse to revenge and destruction to become a basis of conflict. Stop.